I appreciate that they, kind of seems like they do a lot of work recognizing that the people using that tool and using that fundraising day oftentimes have pretty small staff. Our small nonprofits, we don't have a ton of time to be dedicating to any one thing. And so just the thought and energy that's gone into making it as easy to use from my perspective as both the director, the fundraiser, the admin, the HR, so it really made it easy to engage with on that front, which I really, really appreciated.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Agnew, and I have with me Zach Sheehan, Executive Director for New Hampshire School Funding Fairness Project. Thank you so much for joining me, Zach.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So, to start off, can you tell me a little about NH School Funding Fairness Project? What is the mission, and what are the ways you go about achieving that?
Sure. So we are a small 501c3 nonprofit based here in Concord. Um, our primary kind of function and goal is to advance fair funding for our public education system here in New Hampshire. And there's kind of two main pieces to that. One is making sure that the state of New Hampshire pays more of the share of public education funding as mandated by both the Constitution and a lot of Supreme Court cases. They're supposed to fully fund an adequate education for every public school student. And then the other half of that is making sure that the taxes used to fund that education are equal and uniform in rate across the state. So right now there's a really wild disparity in tax rates from one town to the next throughout our state to fund public education. The way we go about doing that, it's kind of a large goal. The way we go about doing that is a lot of educational work, so educating people about these issues and how they experience them and how it impacts them, and then giving them the tools and the information to advocate for change, both at the local level, but also primarily at the state level, directed at state level legislators and the governor.
Wow. So, what has Funding Fairness Projects been able to do because of the funding from NH Gives?
Yeah, so two pieces. One is that by having such a large, well-organized platform for the fundraising itself in New Hampshire Gives, so both the work leading up to it and just all the work that's done to promote it, the weeks leading up and on that day. So that in and of itself is a bit of a platform. We've used our profile to have some of our educational materials right embedded in there, some of kind of like the main pieces of information, so that people, when they go to look at us to see if they want to donate, they hopefully also can learn a little bit about the issue, which is a part of our mission as well. Most recently, we were able to get fully staffed up. We now have 4 full-time staff, which is the first time in the history of the organization. We've been around for about 3 years, so that is really incredible. That's great. We were able to kind of fully staff up right after New Hampshire Gives last year, and it just having that kind of both that platform to reach new donors. And then also bringing in, a significant amount of money during that time just allows us the ability to continue our events, our programming, specific targeted social media outreach. So a number of things, but it's kind of the combination of getting some more dollars from that, but also just the amount of work that's done to promote it increases people who see us, whether or not they give, and that also is helpful as an organization kind of focused on educating folks about this issue.
That's amazing. How did the Funding Fairness Project engage with community leading up to and during NH Gives?
Yeah, so we are fortunate to have a really dedicated and involved founding and current board of directors, some of whom have been working on this school funding issue at its various angles for decades. And so a lot of them have deep ties to the communities they're from all over New Hampshire. And so we were able to kind of, set up a number of them as, spacing on the term, but, kind of ambassadors. They kind of had their own page for New Hampshire Gives, and we were able to see how much they were fundraising and really do some work ahead of time to make sure that they had good lists of people to reach out to. And that was really super helpful on our end, really kind of to tap into their passion and energy as that board of directors who have a lot of connections in their communities and around the state, and really leverage that in kind of a way that then as the person kind of managing that and doing a lot of the work on the back end, to have that kind of streamlined into one system so I could make sure to send out timely thank you cards to everyone and make sure that that was all centralized back at the organization was super helpful.
Thank you so much, Zach Sheehan, for sharing NH School Funding Fairness Project's experience with NH Gives.